Columbo, would you please tell me what you're doing here?
Oh, I see you're free, sir. The receptionist told me you were tied up, so I decided to wander around. I hope you don't mind.
Yes, I'm afraid I do mind. My people happen to be very busy.
Yes, sir. I can see that. I'm very sorry. What are they doing in there?
Well, we're shooting a cover for a new paperback. It's on anthropology.
Mr. Greenleaf, I came by to tell you that I've checked out that accident, and there's no question about it. You were there.
Oh, I can't tell you how relieved I am to hear that. I'm sorry I yelled.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the next episode of the Columbo Confab Podcast. This is Sean.
And this is Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Sean.
Good to see you. Fun fact, although you guys don't know this, we haven't recorded in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Normally, we record these week after week, like cock-hungry sluts.
Oh my god.
But this week, it's been a while. So we're kind of Columbo hungry. And that's a shame because we revealed at the end of last week's episode, that we're going to be talking about a Jack Cassidy episode. Finally!
Yay.
It's going to be Publish or Perish, starring Jack.
So, yeah, no, this is a really good story because as far as I know, this is the first sequel Columbo episode from Murder by the Book. So Ken Franklin finally serves his 3 years in prison.
Uh-huh.
And then he, once he gets out of jail, he starts his own publishing company for smut books. Isn't that the plot?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm.
Yeah. And Columbo doesn't even say, you look like a lot like Ken Franklin. Yeah. Oh, there's so much to talk about here. You mentioned the smut books, which is never really stated in the episode, but it's just implied.
Yeah. Well, and you see like the artwork that's in the office of their covers. Yeah,
there's something else too that we'll.
And they're doing that.
So I don't know. Let's start. This opens up in a junkyard, and we meet a gentleman named Eddie Kane.
Yes. Oh, and it's played by the actor. What's his name? Steve Buscemi's dad.
You fucking stole it. Yes. He does resemble. I looked him up. It's one of those actors where I've freaking seen him in some old movie, and I couldn't place him from anywhere. And forgive me, folks, I didn't write down his name. But his name is Eddie Kane in this, and he has issues. Really, he has issues.
A lot of issues, yeah.
So if I hadn't told you that Jack Cassidy was going to be the murderer in this, and you started watching this and you see this freako, which by the way he's perfectly cast. I mean, the way the guy looks, he just looks like a frickin'
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. But not, like the Fargo Steve Buscemi. I think it's Buscemi, actually. It's Buscemi. He was on Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, I have been saying it wrong this entire time. Wow.
It's okay. Me too, until I listened to that. Yeah. Buscemi. Buscemi, not Buscemi.
Oh.
So he has some issues. He's a Vietnam War vet because, stereotypically all Vietnam War vets have some sort of homicidal PTSD. And perhaps some family issues as well. And really, Eddie should be seeing a therapist.
Yes, he likes to maim people.
Yeah,
and gets his rocks off.
Yeah, and blow shit up at the junkyard. And so we see
him. So he's got his aspirations, though. I mean, he does want a book published on basically what the internet does today.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He would be so happy. Could you imagine if Eddie had lived to see the coming of the internet? I mean, he would have had his own forum. He'd be on the dark web, most definitely.
He is basically Timothy. Is it Timothy McVeigh? Who's the Unabomber? Timothy McVeigh?
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
So what I love is that this character is very. It's not your typical Columbo murderer. He is a murderer, or he will be soon, but he is just a total nutpot. And we meet the real murderer, so to speak, drives up, and it's Jack Cassidy playing publisher Riley Greenleaf. And they're talking about, do you have the key? Okay, yeah, okay. Remember, 10:30, one shot only. Don't screw it up. Blah 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 blah. And so I think it's established very quickly that Riley has hired Eddie to go and kill somebody. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know at this point who it is, but he's obviously going to use him as a patsy.
Yeah. I'm just a patsy.
Yeah, patsy. He even damages his car door. So it'll look like someone broke into his vehicle and stole his gun. It seems like everybody during the 70s carried a gun in their glove compartment. What is that?
I don't know. I know we're in Texas, and it's a puzzle to us as well. Maybe I'll bet you there's half the people in Texas carry guns and we don't even know it.
Yeah, in their vehicles.
Legally you can. Yeah. But okay, so Riley gives him the gun. He gives him a key. He's setting him up to murder some guy. Let me ask you, at this point, are you thinking Eddie just has "kill me now" printed on his forehead, or "kill me eventually"?
Oh, I knew that Eddie wasn't going to live. I was pretty sure that Greenleaf was going to have him or murder him as well.
Yeah.
Because anytime someone assists in a killing for somebody in Columbo, they always end up dying. So
yeah.
Either a big rock across the head or
poison cigarettes. Shot in a projection booth. But you can tell because when Riley leaves him, he gives him $1,000 as an advance on the book publishing that Eddie gave him, and Eddie's face just lights up, and as much as Eddie's face can light up, like a skull on Halloween. And
I would too. I mean, what was $1,000 worth by today's standards?
I have no idea. It's probably like
$5 grand.
$5 maybe. I'm guessing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you take it from here, Steve. What happens next?
Excuse me. So the next scene we see Greenleaf go to a press party for Neil Publishing, which we find out is, I guess, his big competitor. I guess they also make smut books.
I don't know.
That sounds like they're probably a little more legit.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how they're competitors. And I also find it weird that the amount of trouble that Greenleaf goes through just to screw over Mr. Neal and his book in this, that Allan's making. Just to screw them over, he goes through so much trouble. I mean, he really has it in. He goes out of his way, I guess, to do this. So I find that a little odd. But
also, these people are kind of uppity and kind of pretentious.
Yeah.
Neil, the author, what's his name? Not the actor, but the I didn't write down.
Who plays Mr. Neal? I forgot his first name.
No. The victim.
Allan.
Allan Mallory.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, do you know who plays him?
No, I didn't recognize him. I didn't recognize him.
He is played by. He is. If you notice that he wasn't that well of an actor, it's because he's played by a non-actor. He's played by an author named Mickey Spillane, who wrote a series of books about. They're called Hammer novels. Not like Hammer horror movies, but the detective was named Hammer, and he also wrote a lot for TV.
Oh, wait a minute. Are these the same Hammer books that Peter Falk wanted to turn into Columbo episodes?
No,
at the very end?
That's
later.
That's Precinct 84, 74, I can't remember. Different set of books. Different set of books. But I had to look it up because I thought that Hammer was a TV show, and it was. But I thought that the guy that played the killer in A Trace of Murder, remember him? God, what was his name? Not the actor, Patrick something. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I can't think
the guy
of it.
with the bananas. But no, it wasn't. He didn't play the character because that actor.
Yeah.
He played in a comedy called Sledgehammer, where he played a goofy cop. But anyway.
Oh yes. Oh,
you remember?
You
remember?
God,
yes.
I haven't thought of that in forever. Wow.
Neither did I. Yeah.
That's right. He was in that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the. He worked on the He was like the scientist or the I can't think what they call him, but he worked for the LAPD. Yeah.
Yeah. In the show Sledgehammer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you were having
No,
throwbacks
in Columbo, in the Columbo episode.
Oh, but you know what the show Sledgehammer is, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
I never watched it, but I remember it.
I have
from
faint,
commercials.
like, somewhere maybe my grandma and grandpa were watching it, and it's back in my head somewhere.
Was it kind of like a police squad, kind of goofy, or was it a serious thing?
It was. I think it was a sitcom, but not as goofy as Police Squad. So maybe a little bit more like Barney Miller, but I don't know. I would have to look it up. Allan Mallory, this writer, this very successful writer with Greenleaf Publishing, is thinking of leaving, and he's going to go with what's his name, Neil Publishing.
Neil Publishing, yeah.
And Greenleaf.
It's going to be a book about was it Vietnam, correct?
Yes.
They were expecting it to be a huge seller.
Yes.
Huge.
60
seller.
Days to Saigon is the name of the book.
That's right.
And did you recognize his agent, the lovely Marriott Hartley?
I recognize her, but I can't place it. What was she in?
She was in another Columbo episode we did. She was Abigail Mitchell's secretary in Try and Catch Me. Remember the belly dancing?
Yes, yeah. I loved Abigail Mitchell. Yeah, she was in the belly dancing class, right? Yeah. And she got to go on a cruise finally. So she's back now as a what did Greenleaf call her? The concubine. I forgot. He had a name for her.
I don't remember.
Speaking of, by the way, Jack Cassidy had some great lines.
Oh, I wrote them down. Wait. We'll talk about that in a minute. I can't remember Marriott Hartley's name in this, but it seemed to me that her and Neil, she's an agent, he's a publisher.
Oh, you're talking about Ellen, right?
Her name is Ellen?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Is it me, or did they seem unusually close? I think he maybe had the hots for her, because later on, when Columbo meets him in a restaurant, they're sitting right next to each other at a table that's a full booth. They just seemed a little bit. It doesn't matter.
You talking about Peter Falk and the girl who plays Ellen?
No. Neil, the publisher.
Neil. Oh, yeah. No, I think that was a legitimate jab, for the characters. I think, he was probably sleeping with her. I think Neil was. So, going out to special lunches.
But they all seem like entitled pricks compared to Riley Greenleaf, really. Because Riley Greenleaf, we later find out, publishes softcore porn novels.
They never say it. It's just implied. Yeah.
And then my favorite part, the evening of the murder. He leaves the party and goes to a bar.
Wait. Can we talk about the publishing press party?
Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So Greenleaf comes in. Now he's set up his alibi, right? Okay, this is his alibi. So this Eddie guy, he's going to commit the murder at 10:30 with the provided gun and provided key. So for this period, Greenleaf is going to make sure he isn't seen and noticed at this publishing party. And he walks up and he makes a scene immediately. I don't know if he's actually legitimately drunk, or if he's faking it because he needs to be coherent. Mm-hmm. Kind of want to lean on the faking it part. But he goes up, he takes a glass of champagne off the waitress's little serving tray, and he says to her, "You're lovely, now leave." He's just, what an ass. He's an ass. So he says another thing that kind of perked my ears, something about sex is the only mysticism in our society today. So that hints towards the slut rags. Mm-hmm.
He says, "Good night, you charming people," and then that's his last word to them. Oh, he's got more of them coming up later on in the evening.
Oh yeah. Yes. This night is only just begun.
He goes to the some bar in the valley in Encino.
Yeah, some kind of tiki bar. It was
Yeah, and he's extremely rude to the bartender and the people that work there, or the people that are the other people at the bar. It's some elderly couple.
I feel sorry for that elderly couple.
So I kept waiting for him to ask somebody what time it was.
He was smart. He didn't do that.
Yeah. What time is it? So I wrote down things that he says. he tells the bartender, first he yells at the bartender, "Can I have some service down here? This tastes like barf!" And he throws the... I'm not doing it justice, really.
Oh, I think Jack Cassidy would have been a great guy to get drunk with. Because I think he would be just like that.
I think that, I think you're right. He had his issues. And when they get the bouncer, who's about 50 years old, to throw him out.
Get your paws off me. No, he doesn't say that. That's Planet of the Apes. He says, get your mitts off me.
He throws money to the bartender. He says, "Buy yourself a personality." And then
right. I love it.
And then he tells the bouncer, "You and this place deserve to be in the valley." I had to ask somebody what that meant, but apparently,
if you were from L.A., Sean, you would know better. Come on.
I know. I'm not from L.A. Here in Texas, that means you're down from you're from the border down there in Texas. But so he gets in his car, and the middle-aged couple that are in a VW van.
Yes, there are a lot of VWs in this, by the way. Have you noticed? Because Eddie drives a convertible, very nice car, by the way. Do not get in a fender bender with Eddie because the car would explode because he keeps all the nitroglycerin and whatever else in the front. Yeah. Oh God. But that would be how Eddie would want to go. He would want to be blown up.
Yeah, you know what?
And then the worst thing that happened to him was he got drugged first.
Yeah, I know.
He couldn't experience it. Yeah.
You're right.
Poor Eddie.
You're right. So
I bet Eddie would love it if someone if he had hit somebody from behind, and he'd be so happy. He would have had a smile on his face as his teeth rocketed out of his skull. I mean,
so Riley Greenleaf stages. Well, he doesn't stage it. He actually does it. He has a little fender bender in the parking lot of the bar with this middle-aged to elderly couple.
The same old couple that were celebrating. I'm assuming their anniversary together, or they were swingers. Yes, they were swingers, and they pulled each other's car keys out of the fishbowl.
They were like middle-aged couple 101 for the 1970s. And
they were. He was this old little balding, hunched over man. She was this. Oh, she had to be wearing a wig, and
so I looked him up. He seemed really familiar, and he has been in dozens of old TV shows. And it says that on his IMDb profile, and forgive me, I didn't write down his name, so fuck me, people who want to learn shit. That he is known for playing the nervous businessman type thing. And I immediately thought, you know what? I bet you they were in the Munsters. Because they seem like a couple, like, oh, there's a fender bender. Could you just see Herman Munster lumbering out of the car?
As it coming out, and he goes, oh! He runs back into the car and drives off. Yeah. Really, in like half speed. Yeah, I can see that.
And so apparently he was in a shit ton of stuff, including the Twilight episode with Buster Keaton, which I think is...
Oh, yeah, the time travel one.
Yeah. So that was kind of
Do you remember what role he played in that one?
Mr. Abernathy. I think he played a bank manager. But
Interesting.
Maybe I just thought that because I thought that he was the...
Definitely an unusual episode for the Twilight Zone. But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun because it had Buster Keaton.
Yeah, and it was part silent and part... Yeah, that was cool.
Right.
So this is when Jack Cassidy delivers another great line. Because
yes. I hope this is the one I wrote down. Go on.
He's drunk, and the lady says, "Sir, in your condition, I should call the police." And he says, "Madam, in your condition, I should call a plastic surgeon."
Yes, I love that one.
He gives them his insurance information, and...
So he's setting it all up. But there's a line he says even before that to the same woman. She's complaining like, "You hit our car," or whatever. Look what you did. And he says something like, I don't know. "And you, madam, shut up."
and she's like, "Don't take that from him, Ralph."
Yeah, Ralph.
It was Ralph. And he's all blustered. Well, I don't know. Blah 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 blah. So
he's like, what the hell am I getting into? I just wanted to take this woman out and get a little action.
So I hope that was it, because his action and his VW creaky VW Bug, it looks like dilapidated even for 1970 whatever.
Yeah, it was probably new back then.
And so Jack,
were they hippies? Were they ex-hippies that were just kind of?
I think they looked like straights to me. I think they were too old to be hippies. I think that they're.
It could have been what was the word back then? That would have been like beatniks. Maybe they were beatniks.
No, they're not. No, they're not beatniks. Do you even know what beatniks are?
Elderly beatniks.
Okay, I think that they were
precursors to hippies.
There is no precursor to hippies in the 1970s. The hippies have already happened. They're divorcees or widowers.
Maybe that's what it was. They were an older couple that were previously divorced, and they're trying to reunite their flame.
I like that.
And they ran into Greenleaf, and then poor Ralph probably couldn't get up after that because he got shamed.
Well, the thing is that when
this is
you're
before
that
Viagra,
age,
so.
Trust me, I know. When you're that age, and I'm much younger, you do not go to bars like that with your significant other, especially all dressed up like that. I mean, I know it was 1970, whatever.
Yeah.
So Greenleaf, and I keep calling him Jack somehow, but he takes his car and he drives off and parks in a. You know what? If I was doing that, I'd have to be legitimately drunk to do that, because what he does next is he just parks his car on the grass in a park and pretends to fall asleep or falls asleep, and the police find him and arrest him.
I love it. The cops knock on his glass door, and he gets mad. He's like, "What? Leave me alone! I'm on my way home." And they go, "Sir, why are you parked here?" And he goes, "'Cause on the street it said no parking." and then when the cop says, "Sir, can you get out of the vehicle?" And he goes, "You are going to have to drag me out." And the cop has this big shit-eating grin that comes across his face. And I'm thinking, this is police brutality about to happen. That's all you have to do is just tell a cop, "You drag me out of this car." That's just signing away.
Then the cop says, "Come on, Fred, come over here." And Greenleaf looks at goes, "Yeah, you need help, huh?" It's so awesome. It's really sticking it to the man. I really applaud him for that, and I really want to know if he was really drunk or if he was faking it. I think
he had to be faking it, but
he had to be a little drunk. I mean, just to
So let's go over the murder real quick, because we kind of glossed over, because Jack Cassidy scenes kind of just they pull away from it, and Jack Cassidy is such a great. He just plays such a fun character, and he's a great actor.
Yeah.
So anything with him in it, just kind of any of the in between scenes, you forget about immediately. But yeah, so the murder, when it starts, when we see Eddie sneaking up to Allan's, it isn't his apartment, it's his office, right?
It's an office. It's an office that was leased for him by Greenleaf, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I want to side with Greenleaf that anything that's being written in that room is his.
You are absolutely 100% right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. But what I think is interesting is that he went there and wrote like practically in the middle of the night. So it's almost like he's doing it underneath without Greenleaf's knowledge.
But he's using Greenleaf's transcribing service, or whoever he hired.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's using. Yeah, I think Greenleaf would have had proof to sue that would have been a better revenge than this crazy idea.
Well,
murdering.
The thing is that at first you think that the motive is that he doesn't want Mallory to go to the other publisher, because it's not really worth murdering over. I would just let him go, whatever. But later on, it's revealed, like maybe 30 minutes into the episode, that he had $1 million life insurance policy.
That's true. He did. Yeah. He did. Yeah. Okay.
But what's really interesting about this is because all the stuff that we were talking about with Riley Greenleaf in the bar is happening simultaneously on the screen with Eddie Kane coming in and shooting Mallory.
Right, yeah, they divide the screen into threes, into thirds. And it definitely, that kind of editing, that kind of shooting, does not age well.
Really? My gosh, no!
I did not like it. It's kind of like, what was that? The one where you see the murder in somebody's glasses and the reflection of their glasses.
Oh, Death Lends a Hand? See, okay, so I like this. I don't like the one in Death Lends a Hand. I like this. And that was a very 70s thing to do because Brian De Palma did it with Carrie and Sisters. And every once in a while you still see it. Have you seen The Hateful Eight?
No, I never saw that.
The Quentin Tarantino movie? They did it. I think that he did it in that about halfway through. And I loved that. I thought it was great because otherwise you just... Maybe it's a little lazy editing, but maybe it's a little avant-garde at the same time, and I enjoyed that. I loved that. No?
I didn't like it. I don't know.
It's
I'm
okay.
glad
It's okay.
you liked it. I thought it aged it. It made it so apparent that it was from the 70s. So there's some episodes of Columbo that were filmed in the early to mid 70s that could have passed, I think, with today's standards. If obviously with filming, using newer vehicles and stuff, I think could have passed. But this, that to me just screamed weird to me.
I think that instead of having it a half and half screen, the fact that they kind of checkerboarded it sometimes and mixed it around, maybe that was distracting.
Maybe.
But if they had a half and a half scene, maybe that would have worked better. There was the part that I didn't like was at the beginning in the opening credits when Eddie is throwing bombs, and you'd have pauses whenever the bombs.
Oh, the pauses, yeah, that's right.
I didn't like that.
I didn't like that either.
Yeah, like we're being different.
Yeah, they would freeze it and then show the cast credits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Falk as Columbo.
Starring
So yeah, I did not like that. So we see one of the clues almost immediately that that Allan had left the door open, ajar with a chair to get a cross breeze, and so that cross breeze would cause the blinds then the window to rattle.
Well, wait a minute. I have to ask you this.
Yeah.
It's a clue, but did you think it was a clue at the time that you saw it?
Yes, I did.
Really? Okay.
I did, yeah. Because they mixed in the sounds of the blinds making sound. Now, if they hadn't done that, and I hadn't heard it, I would have thought that's just background, nothing to it. But they made a point to make sure that sound effect was a little louder, and I noticed it. Because of that. So I'm thinking, it's a clue.
Well, okay. Well, we'll talk about that more in a little bit.
Okay.
Eddie comes in, shoots Mallory as planned, leaves the key that Riley gave him, leaves the office, closes the door, and I think he did not lock it behind him. He couldn't have because he didn't have a key, but we find out later that the security guard got in with a pass key. So,
right, and we found out later that the locks have been changed, which kind of confuses me. Maybe you'll explain it later, but yeah. So Columbo later that evening, I guess a security guard has come in, noticed Allan is dead, calls the cops, and that's when we are first seen with Columbo. He comes in looking for coffee. Any coffee, doesn't matter. He has to have coffee. And we learn that he had been spending the night. I don't know what time it is at this point. I think he mentions that he's been up since 2. So it's very late or very early in the morning.
Sounds gross.
We find out he's been spending the night watching, late night by the way, watching old Betty Davis movies alone.
No, with his wife. Oh, shit. I
Right.
walked right into it. I fucking walked right into your scrap. Okay, let me tell you something. Betty Davis is not a Columbo fan. I'm sorry. Columbo is not a Betty Davis fan. Okay.
Okay.
He likes westerns. He likes Alan Ladd. Betty Davis, to my knowledge, has never done a western. Okay. I've seen a handful of old Betty Davis movies. No, he is not a fan. Trust me. Have you ever seen an old Betty Davis movie?
I may have, but nothing that really comes to mind. I would not on my own accord. That's for sure.
So if you're going to do, folks at home, if you want to learn more about Betty Davis, let me give you one movie to watch. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. For those of you who are into horror thrillers, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Okay.
I do know that song about her.
The what?
The song.
Oh, Betty Davis Eyes by the Chipmunks.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not by the Chipmunks. What? Who's saying that?
I'm
Googling this now.
Okay, wait, no, it's not. It's somebody else.
No, it's a good song, too.
I grew up thinking it was the Chipmunks because I had a Chipmunk album with that song on it. I told my mom I didn't like it, and she said, well, you should like it because, Sean, you have big brown Betty Davis eyes, too. And I did, but I didn't understand what that meant until I was 25. Anyway, okay.
I'm looking.
Trust me, it was a Chipmunks album in the 80s. It was Betty Davis. I mean, I know another group did it. I mean, the Chipmunks did a cover of it. The Chipmunks did a cover of everything. It's. I'm not saying that.
Kim Carnes.
Okay. All right.
I know the song, but I don't know. That may be a one-hit wonder. I've never heard of Kim Carnes.
But you know this Betty Davis eyes.
Yeah, no, that's a good song. Please don't sing it. And no, great song. So, anyways, yeah. So Columbo is looking for coffee, and then of course we see there's a recording because Allan has been recording this book for transcription, which seems kind of like a cheat. Like if the author's not typing it, like I could recite dialogue.
But this is what this is what I don't understand. If you're writing as an author, you can't dictate because you will often go back and change stuff that you've written. Mm-hmm. But they later explain that he was typing in there. So was he dictating to his secretary? And I don't understand.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm confused on that.
Yeah. And he, okay,
so Columbo discovers the recording, and they actually have an audio recording of the murder. Okay. And Columbo does hear the wind blowing, or the blinds rustling, in the wind.
So I have to ask you this: when you heard that, did you know what he was listening to?
I knew he was listening for the blinds because, again, they made it a point to make sure that the wind was blowing on the tape, and not just his audio of dictation. So
see, I didn't catch that. To me, it sounded like there was dictation, shooting,
and then shoot,
and then he fell down, and it sounded like he when he fell down, a bunch of stuff toppled onto him or fell with him. I didn't make the connection with the blinds, and I knew that the blinds had something to do with it, but anyway, he doesn't explain it until later, I think. You know that's a clue. And what's cool about that is that it's an audio clue. So you're left thinking, what does that mean? He knows it's important. He knows something sounds weird, but you knew it right away.
Yeah, no, I picked it up when he walked in. All right. When Eddie walked in. Because of Greenleaf's parking on the grass.
Was it when Eddie walked in? Because the door was already open when Eddie came in to kill him.
Well, no. It was just an audio cue. You see the blinds moving, and I heard the blinds making sounds. So, and it just seemed to me that was intentional.
Wouldn't the blinds have made sounds after he left the room and shut the door?
Well, it was some. I don't know if it was immediately after the murder, or it was something where you could hear the blinds in the episode.
Okay, all right.
It stuck out to me.
Okay.
I can't tell you exactly when they went off, but anyways. So Greenleaf is being he's going to be interrogated by Columbo. I guess he's been in the drunk cell, holding cell, and his lawyer picks him up, right? So Columbo plays him the tape, I guess, because I think he suspects Greenleaf almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
I like how Columbo offers Greenleaf, says something like, "Would you like a coffee?" And Greenleaf says, "No, I want to go home." He's good. He's good enough playing off people. Well, I don't know if that's the character or actually Jack Cassidy.
Well, if you've spent any amount of time in the drunk tank, you'd want to go home too, because I've spent time in the drunk tank myself. It's been many years. Yeah,
I did not know that about you.
In 2003, I was arrested for public intoxication, and we were not rowdy, so we just had to sit quiet. We had to sit quietly in what looked like a DMV area and just sit there for about 3 hours.
So you were in timeout?
Yeah, we were literally. That's what it was like. And my partner Tom turned to me and said, "This is nothing like I thought it would be. I thought if we went to jail, it would be like when they went to jail in the Golden Girls." That's an actual fucking thing he said. And then they let us go after a few hours, and then we had to go to some classes or some bullshit, and that was fine. Anyway, I'm sorry. This is not about me.
You definitely did not learn your lesson.
Well, no, I did.
I didn't know you then.
No, I just don't do public intoxication anymore. I just don't.
Well, wait a minute. I may have known you back then. Wait, so
you did not know me back then.
I've known you for 10 years.
This was in 2003, so 10 years would be...
So 5 years later. Yeah. Okay.
So,
you have not improved.
The next... No, it's just private intoxication right now, which, through this podcast, becomes public. So, Riley goes home. He's got his lawyer. His lawyer is with him in his home. And Columbo shows up.
Okay, so I want to know, being that you are a lawyer yourself, how would you rate this guy so far? Is he a good lawyer? Is he doing what he's supposed to be doing? Is he protecting his client like he should? Is he saying the right things, telling him, don't indict yourself? I mean, what are your thoughts on the lawyer so far?
The answer is yes. Okay.
Yes to what?
I think that he's doing a good job. Okay. First of all, he woke up at whatever o'clock in the morning to come and, consult with his client in jail after he's been arrested for drunken driving. He's with him in his home at whatever o'clock in the morning. I think it's like 7 or 8, having a drink. By the way,
yes, it was brown liquor.
Yeah, it could have been iced tea. It could have been iced tea or Coke.
I doubt it. There's a little watered down.
And
yeah.
I just want to say that, the scene in the morning at Greenleaf's house takes place in a room that is, quote-unquote, being redecorated. But did you notice the curtains that were draped over a chair also appear in Ellen's apartment later on? So I think that they just couldn't get the shit together to put together a proper set.
I did not notice that at all.
He had some
really... what a horrible yellow it was.
Oh, God, yes. It was like this puke yellow, and he also had some pictures of naked ladies.
Did he?
Yeah. Yes. If you go back and you look
Funny
closely,
how you noticed it, not me.
Yeah. So they're talking, and blah, 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 blah. You did this. Oh, the gun's not in your glove compartment. And then, lo and behold, the insurance agent calls, and Riley...
Well, you forgot to mention, Columbo is there at this point.
Yes. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
There's also talk about... He's talking about Mallory, and Greenleaf says something like, this will be... The book that he's writing will be the most popular book about the Vietnam War ever.
Yeah, okay. So funny.
So...
Because now, that is the... anything about the Vietnam War like that would be, very popular.
But Columbo knows, I think at this point, that the book that Mallory was writing, Greenleaf did not know about. So he asks him, how do you know it was about the Vietnam War? And Greenleaf says, well, you played that thing where it was like Chen Li and the Saigon. Oh, of course, okay. And then the insurance company calls, and they say, oh, we forgot to mention that Greenleaf doesn't remember anything that happened the night before. He obviously has a perfect motive. It was his gun, yada, yada, yada. He has no alibi because he had a blackout. Then the insurance company calls because the people that he rear-ended called in, and a lawyer comes out and says, well, he has a perfect alibi, whatever, and Riley Greenleaf, and this is fucking undoing right here. This along with the Vietnam,
the first thing,
this is it. This is the trigger clue. Oh God, thank God! If it wasn't for those people, and he says those people like twice, and Columbo's about to leave, and he comes back and he says, "You know what? It's funny. How'd you know it was those people?" And the lawyer makes up some, excuse for him, like, well, maybe it was subconsciously or whatever. But yeah. Oh, by the way, that's right. It was,
because how does he know if he was blind drunk? Yeah. How would he know if it was not one person as opposed to more than one? Yeah. Those. Yeah.
And he says those people twice. That was a good clue. I like that clue. I like verbal slip-ups like that. That and the Vietnam comment. So,
yeah, he's paying attention. It's so weird. There are times when it doesn't seem like Columbo's listening, and there's other times where he just picks up on the most minute of detail in a conversation. Yeah, like this.
It's really good. I mean, like when they say it, it's not important. Oh, those people, blah 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 blah. And then afterwards,
because he's starting to wonder because this whole thing's gonna fall apart if fucking Allan or whatever his name was didn't call the insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we find out, I guess, what happens next.
Well, let's also say, at this point, we know that the gun that shot Allan was Greenleaf's gun. They know the key, that he had a key to access the office. He had a motive. Everything, and I mean everything, was pointing towards Greenleaf. And which I find really bizarre that a murderer would leave clues to point at him, not away from him. He wanted everything to look like it was him.
Yeah, but in reality, he didn't commit the murder, and he has an ironclad alibi.
Right, but but still, if that one fact, like you said, if those people hadn't called it in, everything would have pointed right at him squarely, and it would have been pointed at him because he had set it up to be pointed at him because it was his gun, it was his key. He had a reason. He even said at the press party that that Allan will never write a book for you as long as he lives, kind of thing. These.
So you're right. Yeah, this all depends on those people calling the insurance company.
Yeah, if they never did, everything would not have fallen into place.
But come on. The chances of them not calling the insurance companies are like 101. They're responsible people. They drive.
No, I disagree. I disagree with you because here's the reason why. I could be wrong, but I don't know if having car insurance was the law like it is now, back in the 70s. 2, they're old hippies, beatniks, whatever.
They're not old hippies. Okay, keep going.
The odds are what they were driving, they may not have had car insurance.
But if
they may not have called to collect.
But no,
pay for the damage. And the damage done was not that bad.
No, it wasn't. But they could.
They could have just said, whatever the husband or whatever his name was, I forgot already.
Ralph.
Ralph could have been such a milk biscuit that he just would have not gonna.
You know what? You're right. I think that they should have been driving a fancy Cadillac instead of an old VW bus. Because that VW bus, it looked like it was from like 1965. It was, and the way that they were dressed, she was wearing a fur. So I think that the couple was right. They seemed like the type of people who would call the insurance company. But on the other hand, they could have been like, oh, fuck it. It's just it's our son's old, fuck machine from college, whatever.
Right. So there was a good chance. Yeah.
I think that's a good point. I think it's an excellent point.
But anyway, so yes, thank God those people. I mean, how racist? how not racist? How ageist of him.
So I do want to talk about those people and the place that he was at. He says at one point, you and this place belong in the valley. I don't know if I talked about this earlier, and I think we got in a sidetrack, but apparently the valley is, at least at the time, is not a very nice place to be in L.A. That is not, Hollywood or West Hollywood or, Beverly Hills. It is basically a crappy neighborhood. And, we don't live in L.A., so if you guys live in L.A. or know anything about L.A. or live in California, please let us know about the valley in L.A. Because I consulted with somebody who used to live there for a short time, and
specifically in the 70s, because now I think compared to today in the 70s, two different things.
Yeah. So all right. So Columbo goes to visit Greenleaf at his office. Now,
yes, I love this scene.
Greenleaf's office is a very interesting place. Greenleaf is sitting at his desk doing what he does, and then he gets a call from the receptionist saying that there's a strange man walking around. And Greenleaf says, well, why don't you call the police? No, we can't. He is the police. So turns out that, gosh darn it, they didn't do it. Columbo was watching a photo shoot for a romance novel. It's a romance novel. It's this captain guy holding a barely clad girl like they're going to kiss, and they're arguing, it's a photo shoot, and he's watching. I totally thought that he was going to walk in and knock a light over, and everybody would yell at him like as usual. But, we haven't seen him do that in so long, Steve, in the episodes that we've done. But what's more important is that in the office is basically wallpapered with the covers of the books that Greenleaf has published. And they are the grossest books ever.
Oh, and that's where we know for sure now he's publishing smut, right?
Modern mating rituals of the Aztecs. Oh, and Columbo mentions the photo shoot, and Greenleaf says, "Oh yeah, it's a new paperback. It's on anthropology." Like Greenleaf obviously is trying to keep up this image that they publish good books. I understand completely why Mallory had to leave this company. And Columbo at this point says that he's interested in writing a book about his exploits, which, by the way, is not a bad idea. But,
well, no, yeah, so, Greenleaf basically says it takes a certain type of person to, write a book, and Columbo obviously is not that person. But, yeah, no, I did like the scene that he walked in on the photo shoot. That, yeah, I thought for sure they were shooting for a cover of a porn film or something like that. Which it may very well have been, because we do see that Greenleaf has his own private video booth.
Oh, that comes later on. That comes later on. I was going to say,
and Greenleaf
is
enjoying it. He's got a big old Jack Cassidy's got the biggest smile on his face. They're into adult publishing of any type. It's got to be.
Well, why do they have a movie theater in the office for a publishing company? Are they going to make a movie about one of the books?
They're making porns. They have to be. It's the only thing I can think of.
Because
he's branching out. Greenleaf he's seeing that the adult entertainment industry is bigger than just smut rags. He's got to.
What's so great about that scene is he's sitting there giggling watching this movie.
Right, right. Oh, I would too.
As you do when you watch porn, smoking your clove cigarettes. And then what I love, he's like, you get these cocktails, music. And then Columbo walks in, and Columbo's like, "Sir," and Greenleaf goes, "Shh." Like, just, I love it. What the fuck kind of a place is this?
What was he watching is what I want to know.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, but anyways,
you know what? I think I know what he was watching. He was watching one of Dr. Bart Keppel's motivational films.
More than likely.
Yeah.
So this is in this scene, not that one, but where Columbo visits the office for the first time. We find out about the $1 million life insurance, and I think if Columbo doesn't truly believe Greenleaf is involved, that's it. That's the only explanation. Why else did Allan get murdered? And he also finds out, we as the audience finds out that the key that was found at the crime scene does not fit the lock, and so and then I'm getting really confused about why the key, because the key gets changed, the lock gets changed back and forth.
Okay. So the key that Greenleaf gave Eddie, he tells Eddie to leave it at the scene of the crime, and he does. Mm-hmm. However, it turns out that Allan Mallory, changed the locks on the door 3 weeks before the murder. Mm-hmm. So why is this old key laying on the floor? It can't be Allan Mallory's because he has no use for it.
So did Greenleaf know about the lock, and did Greenleaf know that Allan would have put a chair to ajar the door?
No, he didn't know.
Those are all. Oh, okay. So that's what he got caught in. Okay.
Yeah, that's where the key got caught on. Now, what he also does as a mistake is his plan is to frame Eddie for the murder. Eddie Kane for the murder. So we see him call up his friend Moishe, the Jewish locksmith, and he says, "Hey, I want you to make a key for this lock. So, yeah, I'll pay you very well." And so he has somebody go to the crime scene, make a key for the lock that's currently on the door at that time. Mm-hmm. Greenleaf has the key. He visits Eddie in his apartment garage, or above the garage apartment, which, by the way, if he lives in an above garage apartment, I don't know who's in the main house, but they probably would have seen Greenleaf coming and going. I don't know. That's just what I think. And they have this bizarre conversation. By the way, if Jack Cassidy walks in on you while you're working and he's wearing gloves and he offers you champagne,
right?
Don't drink the champagne.
Yeah, Eddie wasn't too smart right there, was he?
So
and poor Eddie, he's so poor. I mean, it's almost as poor as that one kid who had the winning lottery ticket with Rip.
Rip Torrent.
Rip Torrent. This poor guy. I mean, he was living out of whatever he had, but this guy Eddie was drinking out of beakers.
Yes, and they were dusty.
Beakers.
He had to blow the dust on. So
guy probably hadn't had a solid meal in a week.
So Greenleaf pours the champagne, which is poisoned, of course, or drugged. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's poison. And Eddie downs the champagne, and while he's talking about his book, I've got plans that these guys never even thought of. And did you see the set decoration in this? I mean, it was a plain old set in a studio, but they really made it clear that this guy's office or his home was, it
was Tim McVeigh level. It was
exactly. I never even thought of. So we get the impression that after he passes out from the poison or the drugs or whatever, this is really nice. Greenleaf does something. He sets. Oh wait! We forgot to mention
what?
That he has a copy of the manuscript for 60 Days Before Saigon. He leaves it at Eddie's apartment with a cover letter, 60 Days Over Saigon by Eddie Kane, with a fake cover letter to Mr. Greenleaf, so it makes it look like Eddie stole Mallory's manuscript.
Yes.
And
which was clever.
Yeah. And he blows the place up somehow, and we've got a really nice shot of Greenleaf driving away,
smoking a 100.
And then smiles right when he hears the explosion. Fucking evil, fucking bastard, asshole.
So, in a way, let's discuss this relationship between Greenleaf and Eddie. So Eddie,
if you're gonna bring up some gay shit like you did with the other one,
no,
I'm not gonna be offended. I'm just gonna say it's bullshit.
So Eddie, bad guy. Mm-hmm. I think we should say he wants a book. His book would detail and tell kids today how to make bombs. So, and he feels bad, those poor kids that they blew themselves up trying to make these bombs. This will tell them how to do it and do it right, and how to maim as many people as possible. Eddie's fucked up. I mean, anybody who would have published a book like that, I mean, that would have been insane. There's no way any publishing company would have legitimately published.
But somebody did publish a book like that. It's called The Anarchist Cookbook.
Oh, that's right. But that's not okay. So in a way, Greenleaf has taken off the market a fucking bombing serial killer, or he would have prevented a future Timmy McVeigh or a future, I don't name some high school shooter.
Yeah, Columbine guys.
Columbine guys. Yeah, he would have taken the mass death that would have resulted, or mass maiming that would have resulted from this book. He took that guy off the market. So I think Greenleaf is more of a hero. He saved more lives. Okay, he had to kill 2, but how many people lived because of his actions?
Well, you're assuming that Eddie Kane's book would have been published. Greenleaf had no.
Eventually, even if Greenleaf didn't, he would have gone to somebody else. Eddie would have found a way to get that book out there.
His bombs, things in here they've never thought of.
He would have gotten. He would have.
They never even
if it
thought
wasn't
of.
published legitimately. He would have gone to the library and had multiple copies made and just whatever distributed.
Or he could have waited 20 years until AOL was invented and then gone out and
found
a group for that. Yeah.
So Greenleaf has saved hundreds, if not thousands, of lives.
However, he has not saved the life of Mallory. That's the problem. Yeah, I think that anyway.
I know. I'm just.
I know. No, you make some good points. You make some interesting points here. And then there's the part where Columbo goes to have lunch with Ellen and Neil. And go ahead. You talk about this. Okay,
so it's the atypical Columbo rolls into a very high class, expensive restaurant. The car attendants don't even want to drive his car. You know, they make some little snide remark about him. So Columbo goes in, finds Mr. Neal and Ellen, and they offer him lunch. I always love this. They always offer him something. Would you like something to eat? No, it's fine. You don't have any chili or whatever, or whatever thing else he likes to consume. So he orders a chili, which the waiter, I don't fucking care where you are. You're in fucking America. Sorry.
Yes. No.
I mean, you could put on a fake French accent. They're going to know what chili is.
Yeah. He says, chili? Yeah, you should know. No, I'm not talking about the country. I'm talking about the food. Yeah.
Right. I'm not talking about the country. Yes, and apparently they don't have ketchup either. Maybe I'm just a dumb American and I just assume everybody knows what ketchup is, but come on.
But the waiter's like, chili? And then Neil says, just see what so-and-so can cook up for him. And 3 minutes later, he gets a bowl of chili and loves it, which makes me think, what the fuck did they make that chili out of?
Probably lamb.
And actually, this scene is which sounds really good, actually, lamb chili.
Could you imagine the cook when he got that order? He'd be like, I'm trying to think of shaka bra. What the hell? I'm not going to make a chili.
Was that French?
I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
that was my Gordon Ramsay voice.
No, that's not Gordon Ramsay. That's
whatever.
Gordon
I'm sure that. Do you think the cook like
shit?
He probably like threw his like chopping knives at the bartender, or not the bartender, the waiter. It's stuck on the door that swung both ways.
Ooh.
Oh. Could it? You think it maybe it had like crawfish, like some kind of etouffee?
That sounds really good. Maybe he brought him like an etouffee rather than chili, and that's why Columbo was so satisfied with it. Now, so what's important here in this scene? Ellen tells the agent, Mallory's agent.
Yes.
That originally, Mallory wanted to have the book 60 Days Over Saigon to end with the hero killing himself.
Right.
I think.
But the problem was they were going to sell the rights to Universal Studios, who, by the way, they got another plug. I love that because if you plop in the DVD, you're going to see the Universal Studio logo montage at least 20 times before the damn episode starts.
Did they really say
Universal loves themselves so much that they have to include themselves whenever the opportunity arises.
Well,
okay. 20. I'm over exaggerating.
I think that's
but you have to see
more
that.
Than I think you're a little bit biased. But
you have to see. You will see that logo if you watch one episode of Columbo off the DVD. You'll see the Universal logo 3 times. Okay. I was being sarcastic earlier, but 3 times. And then I like how in this, Universal Studios was going to buy the script rights, and they were going to have Rock Hudson. Oh, God.
I was thinking, obviously this is before Rock Hudson died, but this is a little bit after Rock Hudson was in his prime, wasn't it? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm speaking.
When did Rock Hudson die? Sure. He died in the 80s, didn't he? Like late 80s? From AIDS?
He died. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did die from AIDS. He was like the first famous AIDS victim. Let's see. He died in... I just didn't think he was in like Dynasty in the early 80s, I think. But he wasn't in movies. Yeah, he did in 85. But if they would have said like Paul Newman, that would have made more sense.
That would have made more sense. Yep.
But he was in wait a minute. He was in Mcmillan and Wife, which was another NBC mystery that they were doing at the time.
So he was the talent for them at the time.
So the idea was that Ellen suggested that he not die and join the character in the story that Mallory was writing, not die, join a monastery, so it could be played by Rock Hudson. Okay.
And this would have been an edit that would have been done to the script or the storyline literally weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it'd be a recent edit. It wouldn't have been something that would appear on any kind of manuscript that was sent 6 months ago, which is what Greenleaf is saying.
Well, yeah, but we'll get to that. I mean, this is complicated, especially for us because we're a little bit drunk. But Columbo then goes. This is the scene where Columbo goes and interrupts Greenleaf in the porno theater, and Greenleaf tells him, he says, Eddie Kane died. Do you know that name? And Greenleaf is like, well, no. Okay, fine. I'll tell you who Greenleaf is. Who Eddie Kane is. And so he tells Columbo that Eddie Kane sent him an outline for a story months and months ago, and Greenleaf gave that outline to Mallory to make it into a story. Okay. That's important. Okay.
So it would not have had that monastery, the hero living and going on to a monastery. Right. They would not have had that edit in the copy. Yeah. So I want to, before we move on away from the restaurant real quick, the one thing, and I thought it made me chuckle at least a little. I don't know if this is how it is where you work, but it's almost like Columbo was happy to. He didn't really want Mr. Neal and Ellen to pay for his lunch because it was during business. He got to expense it, which means it's free to him, right? Now,
I love what. Okay, this is a really good. Okay, yeah.
So when I travel, every meal I eat is expensed, and I go to places I would never go. I will go to a restaurant that maybe serves a little higher class because I can expense it.
Me too.
As opposed to, I will stay away from McDonald's. If I'm traveling, I will not go to McDonald's because I can expense McDonald's, or I can expense going out to a very nice restaurant that serves eggs Benedict with nice imported coffee. You know what I mean? Or
Dallas. For me, it's Dallas Chop House in the Dallas area, or Bob's Chop House.
Steakhouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I'm out and I can expense it, I love it. It makes me so happy. I eat better away from home. Do you
have a monetary limit though?
I do, but it's pretty good. It covers. it's very hard for me to go over. I can.
What is it? Can you tell us what it is? Nobody knows where you work, so just say what it is.
That's $50 a day.
Okay, so mine was $56, and then they changed it over to a per diem thing. So they'll just eat whatever you want. We'll pay you $51 or $56 or maybe $57 a day for every day you were on the road.
If it's weird if I'm traveling and let's say my flight's out in the afternoon, and so I get there and for dinner, that's $50 for me to spend.
Yeah,
for
I
dinner.
do this too.
So it's not like if I have to split it among the 3 meals, it's less. But it's very rare that I have 3 meals. It's usually divided out, or a client takes me out to lunch. So by the time dinner rolls around, I've got $40 just waiting to burn. Sometimes $50.
I will have McDonald's for breakfast because I really truly feel that is the best breakfast place while you're on the road. I'll have a salad hopefully from somewhere for lunch if I can have lunch, and then I'll splurge it on dinner. Usually at a steakhouse. I love ribeye steak, which I'm not going to live very long drinking that. Ribeye steak and martinis. Yeah.
So I think that's why Columbo, he's more than happy to eat lunch as long as he's talking business.
But this is the thing. So he doesn't order the trout almondine. Like Neil.
No, he likes chili. He does not have an expensive taste bud. He enjoys. But he enjoys his chili.
But when he gets up to leave, he's like, "Okay, give me my bill," and it's $6 for chili. Okay.
Now today, that's nothing.
It's cheaper. It's more expensive than chili at Chili's, I think. Actually.
Really?
Yeah. And then he's like, "Well." And then the waiter adjusts the bill. Oh, I didn't add the iced tea. $6.75. And then I immediately thought, $75 for iced tea? That's not bad if you get unlimited refills.
My God, no. Whoa.
But he obviously didn't drink a lot of iced tea. All right, so it was a good scene.
So where are we?
He goes.
So now we're wrapping up. Okay, it's getting towards the end. I think I really don't know when Columbo truly feels it's Greenleaf 100%. Do you get that impression at any time?
I think that after he met with him and his lawyer at his house, he had a suspicion. Mm-hmm. But after that, I am not sure. I think perhaps by the time that he met with him at when Greenleaf is watching pornos, yes.
Because that's when he finds out about the insurance.
Yes. No. That's earlier on that he finds out about that. There's 2 visits to Greenleaf's office. The first one is when he comes in and he sees the photo shoot, and then he finds out about the insurance. That establishes more motive. So he has a suspicion. He finds out there's a solid motive, and Greenleaf says, "Well, I forgot about the insurance policy." And Columbo says, "Well, the insurance company just sent you a notification last week." Oh,
yeah, but he had people cover that.
Yeah. At that point, I think he knows. But oh gosh, I don't know.
I don't know when exactly he feels 100% because it really looks like some crazy bomb guy had it out for Greenleaf and Mallory. So I don't know. Maybe the restaurant scene, which explains.
It wasn't the restaurant scene at the time. I think it was after he found the key in dead Eddie Kane's pocket.
Yeah.
And he realized it was for the door. Oh God, this is so. I'm a little bit.
I'm telling you,
drunk,
the key thing
ladies
is really
and gentlemen.
throwing me a curveball.
Okay, okay, let's do the timeline of the keys because this is important to remember this whole thing. So, Greenleaf leased the office and allowed Mallory to write his books in it. All right. So 3 weeks before the murderer, Mallory changes the keys. Okay. Murder occurs, and then what happens is Columbo tells a locksmith to change the keys.
3 days What was it?
No, it was
It was the day before, the day after the murder.
The day after the murder. Okay.
Yeah.
So the key that is found on the scene of the crime is from the old lock before the murder, like 3 weeks before the murder. How can that be? Why would it be there? So Greenleaf knows this, and when he kills Eddie Kane, he plants a newly, freshly made key made by Mora, the Jewish locksmith. He puts it on his
Why
his
Jewish?
keychain.
Okay.
I don't know, but he puts it on his keychain. But what he does not realize until afterwards is that key in the keychain Eddie could not have had because the locks were changed the day after the murder. So why would Eddie have that key for after the locks were changed? There's no reason for that. So it's weird. So it's like Greenleaf has all these stories, and everything that he's doing to try to establish his alibi is getting fucked up. He actually had a perfect crime. If he didn't try to plant all this shit, like the keys and the manuscript and all that, he would have gotten away with it. He would have been fine. Except for the issue with the key. Okay. And then we get to the manuscript boy. I don't know, the delivery boy, the guy who comes in.
Right. Yeah.
Who, by the way, I looked him up. He's still with us. He produces and directs shows like Lost and Game of Thrones right now. And it turns out that Greenleaf was paying, I think his name is Walcott, Mr. Walcott, the young delivery boy, to send him photocopies of what Mallory was typing. Okay? Wait, I have to go back a little bit. This is complicated. And I like it, but it's complicated. Greenleaf tells Columbo that many times ago, Eddie Kane contacted him with a treatment or an outline of that story, 60 Days to Saigon. He had Mallory complete it, but it turns out that the story was changed. God damn it.
The earliest, because Ellen had mentioned that she was the idea behind the hero going to a monastery, which was 2 weeks earlier. It would not have been in the transcripts.
And that was based on the final draft of Mallory's story. Right. So Greenleaf created an outline, printed it up, told Columbo, this is what killer guy. I'm losing it here.
Neil?
No, the Joey. What's the fucking guy's name? Eddie. I'm losing it. I can't. Okay, so he told Columbo, this is what Eddie sent us. And Columbo realizes that can't be what Eddie sent you. You're making it up. Because if Eddie sent that to you months ago, that can't be, because you included the fact that the hero went to a monastery at the end instead of dying.
Yep.
So, if Eddie supposedly wrote that a long time ago, why is it that the fact that the hero goes to a monastery that was created by Ellen just a couple weeks ago is in there? And that, therefore, implicates Riley Greenleaf. Because Riley Greenleaf has been paying the delivery boy to send him copies of everything that Mallory types.
Got it. Yep.
I think I got it. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It was just the key aspect that kind of threw me a little. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw a number at this guy.
Oh, there's lots of numbers.
Yes. So, what you like to guess at where I'm going to pull tonight's number? What do you think? What do you think is going to be the review number tonight?
I have 5 numbers.
Wow.
320.
You were taking really good notes.
320.
Okay.
320.
Okay. No, because that is that's the address of. I wrote that down. That is the address of Eddie's home. 320 Harwood Street. Yeah.
22.
No, that's not it.
2200.
Nor was it 2230 or 2230. No.
Okay. All right. $6.
Nope.
$6.75.
That's it. Okay. Yes. So, Sean, how would you rate this out of a chili and a tea at some fancy-pantsy restaurant? $6.75. Which 75 cents even today, I would probably pay $1.25 for a tea today.
Yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad at all. $6 for Chili's.
Back in '74, that's a lot of money for a tea. Like, I would think 20 cents for a tea or something like that. There wasn't a Long Island iced tea either. So,
yeah.
Anyways, so $6.75.
People can't tell this from what we were just talking about, but I really love this episode. There's a few reasons. It's really clue heavy. It's a shorter episode. It's just over an hour, 10 minutes, hour, 5 minutes. Jack Cassidy is great in it.
Yeah.
He is the act that he puts on during the time that the murder has gone on is really fun to watch. I liked the directorial decision to split screen it. It is very 70s, but I liked it. It seemed, I think if I made a movie, I could make it work more or less right now. I did not think that there was enough of Riley Greenleaf and Columbo. There are episodes, Double Exposure with Robert Culp comes to mind, where it's 80% Columbo with the murderer. There should have been more Columbo with the murderer. The end scene, however, is a great gotcha clue. And I had a really hard time explaining it because I'm going to admit to you all, I'm drunk. It's really hard to explain to somebody when you're drunk what the solution is, but it's solid. It plays, and I think this is a great episode, and they really pack in a lot over the hour and 10 minutes that is this story. So I'm going to give it a good 6.25. I like this a lot. In fact, I think this might be among my top 5. Maybe not my top 3, but my top 5. And I think I haven't watched Murder by the Book in a long time, but I think this might be my favorite Jack Cassidy episode.
Wow. Okay.
But we haven't watched the other 2 yet. I've watched them, but I don't remember them that well. So, yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty good. So $6.25.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For me, out of 6.75, I'm going to give this $5.05.
Ooh, you did not like it as much.
It was enjoyable, and what I enjoyed was Jack Cassidy. I thought he was great. I thought Steve Buscemi's dad, Buscemi, whatever the fuck his name is, I thought he was creepy. He was well cast. But yeah, I think this pretty much everything I enjoyed about this episode was Jack Cassidy. I would love to do, once we do all the Jack Cassidy episodes, I would love to do what our favorite of his are. Same with Robert Culp, by the way.
Yeah, Culp, Cassidy, McGowan. Yeah.
Yeah. McGowan, absolutely. So I primarily I liked this episode because of Jack. The gotcha moment that you said at the end, it actually fizzled on me. I felt like the last 2 minutes where Columbo basically he's talking to the transcript kid, and he proves to Greenleaf that I got you. This seemed flat. Like it didn't have that gotcha moment. Usually when there's a good gotcha moment, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm laughing out loud when Columbo catches them off guard. I legitimately laugh out loud. This one was just like, eh?
You know what? I kind of have to agree with you there. Yeah.
I did enjoy that. That usually it didn't have a resounding solid ending for me. So that's really important, especially in these Columbo episodes. I have to have something that kind of makes it all worthwhile, and to me, the ending didn't do that for me. So that's why I'm. It's not a horrible episode, far from it. There were certain things I did not enjoy. Overall, yes, I enjoyed it. I would not rate it in my top 10. Maybe top 10, but I really doubt it. I don't think this would be my top 10.
You said you enjoyed Jack Cassidy, and I wanted to see more of him because he was, it was implied that he was such
hilarious,
a fucking evil, perverted bastard.
I suggest you go to a plastic surgeon. He's hilarious. I love drunk Jack Cassidy. Come on.
And even the part where he's watching the porno or whatever, and Columbo walks in, and if you watch very carefully, he goes, shh.
And I love Jack Cassidy's hair. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
What? What do you mean?
No, there's nothing wrong.
Okay. I love his hair. I think he has great hair.
It's for me. It's kind of depressing watching him smoke cigarettes because that's not how he died. I'm sorry, that is how he died, but he didn't die of lung cancer. He actually, not long after Columbo was finished, he fell asleep, probably drunk, with a lit cigarette, and burned it.
No,
yes,
I didn't know that.
And the only way that they were able to identify the body, or more or less that they knew it was him, but they could have, was that his ring that he wears, which I don't think he wears in this, but yeah. He is, of course,
that's horrible.
The father of Sean Cassidy, who recently passed, maybe 3-4 months ago. So yeah, he was married to Mrs. Partridge. I can't remember her name.
Shirley.
Yeah. He suffered from bipolar disease or some sort of mental affliction, where he would just do weird shit. Like, he wasn't drunk. He would just, show up naked somewhere. He was a weird bird. And in many ways, Columbo suited him. Like, it suited his personality to be, like that. Or maybe bipolar, I should say. He did struggle with, I think, bipolar issues. Where he'd be depressed one day and then, great the next day. And I sort of think that reflects in his performance. And, based on what I remember, I don't know who I like better, Robert Culp or Jack Cassidy.
Well, it's funny. It's so funny you said that because I actually had that to bring up in tonight's episode. Who's your favorite recurring? But yeah, you don't know. I have a favorite, but
there's three big candidates. There's Cassidy, Culp, and McGowan, and we've only done half of McGowan. And then there's the others like Shatner.
Shatner only did 2.
He did 2, but those are the big three. McGowan did more, but Culp and Cassidy sort of just have they're like
the kings.
They're like the assholes because they're the kings. They're the kings. They're the assholes. Yeah. McGowan not so much. McGowan gave great performances, but he was never a true Columbo murderer asshole like Cassidy and Culp were. So, yeah. Wow. I really enjoyed this overall. And there's some stuff in here like I just love the underlying current that he basically has a soft porn business, like he publishes soft porn novels, but it's never really explained. He just does it like, oh, this is an anthropology piece. Nobody has to say it. And I don't know if that's because it was on primetime TV in the 70s, or it's because a business like that would actually act like that. And I think it's a mixture of both.
Okay, well, I think we both agree, not a horrible episode, but it was a good episode. I think we waver on.
But it's hard to describe the clues are hard to describe when you're drunk. The whole timing of the keys and the script, but otherwise I think that those clues were pretty solid, more or less, and also the comments that he made when Columbo first saw him. Okay, before we spin the wig and wheel of the 90s, we have some feedback, if you want to call it that. All right. Feedback time. Okay, we have a few short ones, and this is the part where those of you who are just interested in what we're going to review next will have to be patient. We have one from Gen Z, who I've communicated with on Twitter. She's also emailed us before, but I don't know the context of what she's writing about now. She says, "Oh, hey, I just heard your comment from a few episodes ago saying you've only had one woman fan communicate with you, her from Australia. Hi." She says, "I'm not really offended. You guys are great." Or, as my family from Chicago would say, "You guys are great." I don't think that's her. She's not from Australia, I don't think. But anyway. Okay, so we have one from Stephen C. "Gentlemen, last time I sent an email, I began with a joke about shoes that fell flat." Oh, see, that's a joke in itself. Shoes that fell flat. That's a joke in itself,
yes.
All I managed to do was confuse Steve, so I'll forego the attempt at humor and just write into the email. I just listened to the Uneasy Lies the Crown episode. You remember that one? That's the one with
the dental one. Yeah, that's the with the poker game. And...
the Nancy Walker and all that. I remember James Reed from the first season of Remington Steele. That was a show in the 80s. You old enough to remember that show? Yeah, we are old enough, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
They dropped his character for the... Yeah, neither did I. My mom watched it. He says they dropped his character for the second season. Someone else may have mentioned this, but Ron Say was a baseball player.
Yeah, well, we got that. They brought it up, didn't they? Or did we figure that out? I can't remember.
I don't remember. I don't think we just figured he was a sports guy and we didn't care because we don't like sports. Right. He was best known as a member of the LA Dodgers playing third base. He won the World Series in 1981 with them, and it was a series MVP.
And compulsive gambling
this
too.
Is I'm gonna make a confession, Steve. I don't know if you hear the same thing. It's some straight male thing. Whenever somebody says to me in a bar, or nobody does this to me at work, but like, "Oh yeah, Dallas Cowboys, they're gonna be fifth, blah 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 blah," I'm like, blah 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 blah.
Okay.
I don't want to hear about sports. I don't care about sports.
No, you're not a sports guy at all.
No. Cubs won the 2016 World Series. I care.
That was the only time I ever heard you legitimately interested in sports. Yeah. Well, and I, just FYI, I'm not a big sports guy. I keep interest in it just because I have to with business. I have to know that stuff, but if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for social interactions at work, no, I probably wouldn't know anything about sports.
And there's in Texas there's college football, there's Major League Football, there's baseball, it's just stick to one. Jesus wept. Anyway, he says Nancy Walker was credited ahead of Dick Sargent because she was
she was. I remember that.
She was the bigger star at the time. Sargent was remembered for Bewitched, but Walker was known for many more. Mcmillan Wife and Rhoda in particular, but also Blansky's Beauties. He says, look it up. And True Colors, which started just after this episode aired. Add to that the TV commercials you mentioned, and she would have been the more immediately familiar person. Signed Steve, a.k.a. Doc Pinko. He was just tweeting me. Okay, we've got one from Billy. He just says, "You guys are great. I love this podcast. By the way, Identity Crisis and Troubled Waters are my favorites." We did Identity Crisis, but we haven't done Troubled Waters yet, so we didn't like it.
Wait, that's the cruise one, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the cruise one.
We haven't done that one?
No, we haven't done that one. No.
I know I've seen it. Okay.
Then we have one from Artisui A. He says, "Hi, Steve and Sean. I'm listening to your podcast for about 3 months now, and I want to tell you that your podcast is the best Columbo podcast I've listened to so far." Out of all 4 of them.
4 of them? Well, still, I appreciate that.
I love your background stories, like the dentist situation, and the funny talking without too much research, exempt the knowledge of who is dead or not. Oh yeah, that's my favorite. Who's dead? Who's not? Keep up the good work.
I wish we had a group text chat whenever somebody famous dies. Sean started it, but he's a card whenever someone dies. No, we yell. We text each other.
I didn't do it with you lately because like we have John McCain, Aretha Franklin.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
No, you sure haven't.
He said,
"Wow, what happened?"
I think I'm only going to do it when it's Columbo related. So
that's very rare. Then, holy cow.
He says, "Keep up the good work. I love the 5-star rating in iTunes in Austria."
Wow.
So we can't see it unless we log into the Austrian iTunes. He says, P.S. I'm a 35-year-old lawyer in Bregenz, Austria, and a huge Columbo fan since childhood. Wow. Until today, in our main broadcast in Austria, Columbo is still aired always late on every Sunday. In German language, though. My favorite Columbo murder is Jack Cassidy. The best episode...
Enjoy tonight.
No, actually, this is interesting. I like this. The best episode is called Des Truffos Corporal, which in translation is English is The Devil's Corporal, which I think is probably Now You See Him, where he plays the former Nazi. Regards, a Columbo fan.
Oh, yes.
Okay, this is okay. I got an email from somebody named Sandra Green. The title said "No Time to Die," and then it said, "When will it air on my TV again?" Okay, Sandra, we don't know. It depends on where you live and
Sorry, Sandra. Yeah, I don't know.
And what cable things you subscribe to. And I'm going to cut away now to Sandra. Also sent an email today. She said, "Do you have a copy?" We don't have a copy of it. We don't know how to do that because we're old men. If you want to see No Time to Die, you're just going to have to wait and keep attention.
Can I make a suggestion?
What's that?
Buy the DVDs.
Yes,
and you can watch it as many times as you want.
I mean, for what are they now? $70 for the amount of entertainment you get. Think about paying $20 to go with somebody else to the theater. It's nothing compared to $70 worth of Columbo shit.
Oh yeah, go to a movie, buy popcorn and Coke and whatever. It's going to cost you what, $20?
Yeah, that's nothing
for 2 hours.
Yeah, this is hundreds of hours of Columbo for $70. So, All right, we've got an email from Gail D about smoking. She says it's entitled "Smoking in 1968." I actually like this. She says, "Love the podcast. I'm old, and I know about the 70s."
Congratulations, Gail.
Don't poke fun. We'll be old. We're old now. She says, "I'm old and know about the 70s from experience. Saw most of the shows when they first aired, and I still watch them again and again. Regarding prescription murder." We take away me saying we talked about the fact that Dr. Fleming has a lighter and I think an ashtray in his office, the psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. She says, regarding prescription murder, smoking was so normal and ubiquitous that everyone had ashtrays and lighters in homes and offices, whether they smoked or not. No one ever asked, "Do you mind if I smoke?" Kids made ashtrays for their parents in ceramic class at summer camp.
That's what I was going to say because I'm pretty sure I made my mother. Yeah, I know I made my mother ashtrays back in Sunday school class. You know, they would get the kennel hot and you could do your own pottery. Yeah. Oh, I made my mother ashtrays when I was growing up.
She says Columbo really smokes cigars, but cigar smokers usually don't inhale. This is a true fact. Yeah. I don't have any idea what they got from it besides tongue cancer. Well, I know what they got. It tastes good. I never smelled one that wasn't horrible, but it was allowed on planes. At some point, smokers had to sit in the rear of the plane, and eventually they banned it completely. I remember, yes, I've been alive long enough to remember when smokers were just sort of delegated to the back, like Rosa Parks. And so you would be able to smoke in the back of the plane with the others. I still don't fucking think how anybody could smoke in the middle. Anyway, there was a no smoking sign that was lit up during takeoff and landing. And by the way, they still are. Yeah, in case somebody didn't get the memo, don't smoke on the plane.
And I love the warning when they do the pre-flight. You know, like if this plane crashes, what to do. There's always that warning, like you are not allowed to smoke in the bathrooms, and if you tamper with the smoke alarms, that is a federal offense. I'm like, wow, a federal offense to tamper with the smoking alarms in the bathrooms. Who does that? I mean, obviously someone must have, because they wouldn't have said it.
And I fly Southwest all the time, and sometimes they temper these warnings with some irony, like a joke, but they never do it with that old smoking. I don't know. She says, I am attaching a photo of my Waterford Crystal smoking accessories. She says, I quit smoking in 1982. Those little vases were to put cigarettes out for guests at parties, and it looks very much like something from Columbo, or perhaps from my grandparents' house. But wow,
I bet you in 50 years people will have that in their rooms just because it would be cool.
Yeah, and also that I'm going to mention, Gail, that you sent me this picture, and you've got a picture of these items on a glass shelf, and you've got some really cool old-looking books underneath it. Okay, so then finally, somebody sent from Yahoo. It just says from Yahoo. I'm poking fun at the person who sent this. He says, "Hi, Sean and Steve. I want to say that I'm new to the show and enjoying the episodes. I have been taking in the 70s reviews since I have only seen those Columbos. I have the DVDs on my wish list from Amazon, and maybe my spouse will buy them as a gift."
Hint, hint.
Yeah, I like the number rating system just for the silly nature of it. Just wanted to say hi. Keep up the fun work. Your friend from Ozark, Missouri, Chris C.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Well, he happens to be the spouse of somebody, Amanda, that we had on our old podcast, and she texted me and said, "Hey, what's your Columbo podcast? Chris wants to listen to it." So
that sounds just like her.
Oh, totally just like Amanda.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also have some reviews on iTunes, and I want to bring this one up especially. This was from Thursday. This is Saturday when we're recording. This person says, I enjoy the pod as a casual listener wanting to explore the fun that Columbo is to watch. Just because they don't live in LA doesn't mean they can't be a great pod. Thanks, guys. Okay. So then yesterday, last night, I got a text. When I say I, it's the Columbo Confab Twitter feed, which I'm operate, because Steve does not do social media.
Social media, no.
So I think this is from Neil Robertson. I'm guessing, because a day ago he said, English Columbo fan here. I'm so happy you guys are doing this pod. Columbo is amazing. LY good and sometimes awful X. And then I said something to the effect of, "Thank you very much. We love you. That's awesome. I think we love you." And then he replied with, "Listen, I'm drunk. I will send a coherent tweet in the morning. SOZ." So it's okay. I've been there too.
All right,
Steve. I think it's time to put publisher pairs behind us.
Yes.
And I think it's time for you to swing the Wigan wheel of the 90s for our final episode of season 8. There's only 5 episodes left.
I can't believe we've done 8 seasons of this.
Yeah.
That was good.
Go. And we are going to be talking about Columbo and the Murder of a Rock Star, starring Dabney Coleman as a lawyer.
Oh, so funny. I was watching bits of that today. Wow. Okay. I love Daphne Coleman, by the way, but yeah, Murder of a Rock Star.
We both said Daphne Coleman. It's Dabney Coleman.
I'm going to say it any way I want, damn it. All I can remember is Daphne in a dog collar being hung by a garage door opener in 9 to 5.
See, that's not what happens in this. There's
No, that doesn't happen in this episode. I'm just saying. In the wonderful movie 9 to 5, if you've not seen it. You've seen it.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
You've never seen 9 to 5?
I've never seen 9 to 5. I saw part of it once.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gay and I've never seen 9 to 5. Rub it in.
This is a travesty. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm going to send my gay card in to I'm not gay anymore.
Yes, please. Seriously, you've never seen 9 to 5?
I've seen parts of it, maybe the beginning of it, and of course I know the song, but Dabney Coleman and Sheridan Denise is in this, Tom. I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, Sheridan Denise, the husband. As a matter of fact, that was what I was watching. Yes, so Mrs. Falk is in this. Yeah. Well, she really. When did he marry her? By the way,
I don't know. Why are you asking
she's
me that?
really around. She's in a lot of the later episodes.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. Okay, we'll do that next time. That will begin, or that will be the end of season 8. We'll get that over with, and then move on to something else. Okay. Until then, I have been Sean.
This is Steve. Toodles.
Toodles. Good night, you charming people. Thank you for listening to the Columbo Confab podcast. To email us with a comment or question, write to columboconfab@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @columboconfab, and look for us on Facebook. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us some happy reviews on iTunes.
I love clues.
Hello, I'm Sean, and I'm the host of the 1001 Movies podcast, based on the book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. Each episode, I randomly pick a film from the book and spend about 10 minutes talking about its director, the cast, the genre, and my personal thoughts on the merits of the film. Each delicious yet bite-sized episode contains information about a film from practically any genre, any country, or any year. Check us out on iTunes, and we'll send you free cookies. Some restrictions apply.